Hello everyone, this is Elias5891 here with another KTANE module tutorial. This time we are going over the web design module. Now this is a newer one, hasn't seen a lot of play, so there's not as much of a meta around it or a standardized style as a lot of the modules, but I'll show you the way that I've come to do it. We'll take this one here in the top corner, and this one, it's a lot of just reading what you've got to the expert when I do it. So I'll give them you'll want to give them the part before the curly Q, so it's div hash download, border radius 2 pixels, and I'm just abbreviating all this stuff, text shadow purple, margin auto, border radius 50%, background color white. And that's what they need to know. They also need to know, are the buttons colored? In this case, buttons are colored. Now this probably doesn't make a ton of sense to most people. To be honest, my CSS knowledge is a little limited. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me either in some sections. But we don't need to know what all of it means. We just need to be able to consider it. So as the expert, we've got this info. The first thing we need to do is find the website that the code was quoted from. So we're going to take the part before the curly Q. That'll always be the first part. In this case, it was div hash download. The first part that's not got any symbols is an element. The hash part is an ID. And if you have a dot something, that's a class. In this case, we're looking for something that's div and hash download. So this doesn't have a div. This has a div, but no hash download. Div, no download, no div, div, no download, no div, div, download. Bingo. Div hash download. That's this one, and what we care about is this threshold. Threshold is BO2 OE5. Next, we need to find the target color. That would be just the first color name. And scanning through here, purple's the first color name. So our target color, purple, is this one here. So that's 800080. And now we can calculate. We're going to find the site score. To do this, we're going to start with the number of lines of codes. So we're going to ignore the first part that we used to get the site. How many other command type things were there? That's the number of lines of code there were. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The border row, the TS, the text shadow, the margin, the border row, and the background color. 5 lines. So that's 5. And you'll see here this actually is 5 lines. Now as a related note, you'll also notice this means there are 5 semicolons. Over here, you'll see like this line here, this text shadow, 18, 14, 1, magenta. This doesn't have a semicolon on this one. It has it here. This is kind of indented over. That's one line. So this one, if we were doing it, which we probably will, has 6 lines. Margin, padding, border, text, font, border. Also has 6 semicolons. But back to the one we're working on. We start with the number of lines of code. That's 5. We're going to do calculations for the target colors. We'll come back to this step here, this +3 score part. We're going to come back to it at the end. +2 score for every margin or padding. We didn't write down, we do have a margin. Here's one. That's going to earn us a +2. +1 for each border or border radius, unless it's 0 or 50%. Well, here's a border radius, a BR. That's fine, so that's going to be a +1. Here's a border radius, but it is 50%, so it doesn't count. So we've got one of those. -1 for each Z index without a position. I didn't say Z index. That would look like this here, Z index. So we don't do anything with that. +1 for each font family, unless it's Comic Sans, which is a -5. But we didn't have any fonts. +2 for each box shadow or text shadow, unless it's none. We didn't have any shadow. Or yeah, we did. Text shadow. TS. Text shadow. And it's not none, so that's a +2. We've got this multiplier, which we'll do at the end because obviously it's the last step. Double score if the buttons are colored. We said they were. So we're going to double it here at the end. And now let's get back to this color part that I skipped the first time. We'll do it next time in order. But so here we had threshold that we found at the beginning. And here we had the target. Now these are colors in hex code. Specifically, and it says this here in the note, but you've got the first two make a red, an R section. The second two give you a G green. The third two give you a B for blue. For these, you're going to compare each pair of characters, each pair of bits or bytes. Bytes? Text. It might or might not be bytes. I think it's bytes. We're going to compare the pairs using these rules and determine which is larger, which is greater. Now, obviously like this one, 20 is bigger than 0. That's easy. But B0 and 80, which is bigger? Well, in hex, your numbers just keep rolling after 9 to letters. So if I counted, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, all the way up to 1, 9, 1, 8, 1, 9, 1, A, 1, B, all the way up to 1 C, 1 C, 1 D, 1 E, 1 F, 2 O, all the way up to 9F, A1, A2, A3, all the way up to AF, BO, B1, B2, all the way up. So it's like extra numbers after 9. So if we're comparing them, any letter is higher than a number, and the later in the alphabet the letter comes, the higher the number it is. So BO is going to be bigger than 8O because B is bigger than 8. Likewise, E is also bigger than 8 because it's a letter. So let's actually look at this rule now. 3 points each. If the R value of the target is less than the R value of the threshold, the R value, which is the first one, of the target, 80, is less than the R value of the threshold, which was B0. That's true. So we can tack another 3 on. G value is greater than or equal to the G value of the threshold. 0 is greater than or equal to 20. No. B value of the target is greater than the B value of the threshold. 80 is bigger than E5. No. So let's actually calculate this out. 5 plus 2, 7, plus 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13, times 2 gives me 26. Traditionally, this is going to give you a positive number. If it gives you a 0 or a number less than 0, a negative, then you're going to add 16 repeatedly until you get a positive number. I can't personally see this going more than... I guess you've got some opportunities for some big negatives, but if it goes negative, add 16 until you get to the positives. Once you're there, you're going to... It says keep adding up the digits of the number. You're going to find the digital root. So you're going to add the digits until you're left with a single digit. So 2 plus 8, or 2 plus 6 rather, gives you 8. So your digital root is 8, and the rule for an 8 is consider triangle. Triangle button. Wham bam done. That took a little bit. I will admit that. This is a little bit of a lengthy one. But it's not too bad. We'll do another one. We'll actually hit the +3 score based on the hex colors, where it's at in the list, so we'll just do it as we go. So let's take a look at another one. Alright, hopped around a little bit, but let's go ahead and go over this one. So I'd tell them it's div #comments.large margin 4.2, padding 0, border radius 0 pixels, text shadow 12, 14, 1, magenta, font family, and the only thing that they need to know about the font family is it Comic Sans? So font family, no Comic Sans. Border radius 2 pixels, that's it. Alright, first find the website. We got div, hash comment, dot large. Div, hash comment, no. Div, no. Div, hash comment, dot large. Perfect. We're doing PNG drop. So, my threshold is BADA55. The first color we had was the magenta. So my target magenta is here. FFOOFF. So we're going to start with the number of lines of code inside the curly braces. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plus 3 if the red value of the target, first two, is less. FF's not going to be less than anything. FF is not less than BA. Plus 3 if the G value, the center 2, is greater than or equal to. 0 is not greater than or equal to DA. Plus 3 if the B value of the target is greater than threshold. Target, FF, threshold, 5. That's bigger, so that's a plus 3. Plus 2 for each margin and padding. There's a margin, there's a padding, so that's going to give us an additional plus 2 twice. Yeah, plus 2 twice. Next up, plus 1 for each border or border radius unless it's 0 or 50%. Here's a border radius, but it was 0. Here's a border radius that's okay. So we've got one of these, plus 1. Minus 1 for each Z index with no position. I don't have any of those. Plus 1 for each font family unless it's Comic Sans. Had a font family, not Comic Sans. Plus 1. Plus 2 for each box shadow or text shadow. Here's a text shadow, TS. And it was not none. No BS, no box shadow. So that's another plus 2. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And my guy didn't mention, so I'll ask, buttons colored or gray? Oh, sorry, they're gray. So if they're gray, minus 3. Minus 3, that gives me a score of 14. 1 plus 4 gives me 5. 5 is accept. Accept, please. And that is web design. Now, a couple of these I wanted to mention real quick. It does talk about each Z position or each Z index without a position. You'll notice here you got Z index and the very next thing is a position. Here you have Z index and then it goes to something else. So that would be an example. This one would be an example of a Z index without a position. Music, you're being cute, thanks. And I don't think we had any examples of a Comic Sans font family. Nope. But that's it. That's really how web design works. That's how the web design module works. Actually, let's do one more just to be safe. Maybe we'll get the Comic Sans that we want. I did want to have one with different edge work just for the sake of doing it. It's what I do. We always do 2 bombs anymore. So let's pull it up. Lights on. Eeny, meeny, miny. Oh, this one looks big. Let's do this one. Alright, so for this one, last one we'll do, we have div.reply, z-index2, box shadow 2, 2, 0, purple inset, padding 0, font family no Comic Sans, border 1 pixel dashed white, background orange. Well, first things first, div.reply. If we look up div.reply, div.reply, nope. Div.reply, nope. No div, no dot reply, no dot reply, reply. Here we go. Steel Nexus. What is Steel Nexus? I should know that website. It sounds very real. So I've got a threshold color of Beagle, BEA61E. And my target, first color was purple. Purple is 800080. So let's go through it. Number of lines. That one, as we mentioned before, does not count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. Is the R value of target less than R value of threshold? R value less than that? It is. G value of the target is greater. Is this greater than this? No. A6 is definitely bigger. B value of target greater than threshold. Is 80 bigger than 1E? Yes, 8 is bigger than 1. Plus 2 for each margin and padding. No margin, 1 padding. Plus 2. Plus 1 for each border or border radius, unless it's 0 or 50. Here's a border, and it's not 0 or 50. So that's one of those. Plus 1. Minus 1 for each Z index without a position. Here's a Z index. It did not have a position, so that's a minus 1. Plus 1 for each font family, unless it's Comic Sans. We had a font family. It's not Comic Sans, so that's true. Plus 1. Plus 2 for each box shadow, text shadow, unless it's none. Here's a box shadow. No other box shadows. No other text shadows. And it's not none, so plus 2 for that. 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 14, 15, 16, 17. Buttons are... Hey, what color are the buttons colored? Yes, they are. Alright, buttons are colored. So we double it, that becomes 34. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 is an accept criteria. And there we go. We'll call it there. That is web design. Notice if you've already solved the module, you'll still get strikes for picking wrong answers. So don't do that. Anyway, this has been web design. As always, comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, feel free to leave them in the section down below. And until next time, this has been Elias. Thank you for watching. Have a great day and don't explode. Bye.